You could put a glass on that.
Yeah. Oh, he has. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of 30 Flirty Surviving. I am Tracy.
I am Kelsie.
And we are one man down today, but
sad.
If you stay tuned, we've made up for it. Tanisha, we miss you. We love you. She'll be back with us next week. But, Kels, what's next?
In the meantime, follow, like, subscribe, comment, and share 30 Flirty Surviving Podcast. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and iHeart. Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. So let's get into the episode topic today.
Let's do it.
Yes. So today we are talking about body modifications. All things body modifications, from plastic surgery to Botox and everything in between. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to say we like to consider ourselves big believers and supporters in the idea that if there is something that you could do to improve your self-esteem or your confidence, do it.
100%. All the way.
Do it.
Absolutely. So with that being said, I'm so excited to say that today we have a very special guest with us who is an expert on the topic and going to be going through all of our questions and giving us his personal experience. My good friend, Joey Prixx. Joey, say hi to everybody.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Yay. Okay, so for those of you who do not know, Joey is an aesthetic piercing artist. He has been doing this for 13 years, and in August, it'll be 2 years with officially opening his own place, which is Superficial ModSpa. It's in Weymouth. He is the pro when it comes to everything from clean technique and procedure. He makes customized jewelry, and he truly helps his clients deliver and achieve the look of their dreams. So, Joey, I appreciate you being here with us today. We are going to dive into a little bit of a Q&A with you, but before we do so, would love for you to tell us a little bit about Superficial and kind of how that came to be and where you got started.
All right, cool. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
So Superficial ModSpa is basically my dream come true. I wanted to create a totally unique concept. So Superficial ModSpa comes from med spa. So instead of like a medical spa, we're a modification spa.
Ooh,
love that.
I do too.
Yeah, so a whole new concept. So it was so much fun, like designing and just kind of like creating that new concept. And then
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's incredible. I first went to Joey for a emergency. My tragus piercing popped out in my sleep one night, and I ran to Superficial, and I was like, "Please help me!" And he was so warm and so kind, and I will only let him ever touch my ears from here on out. He is the best of the best. He helped me and got me in right away, made sure it was all clean and wouldn't get infected, got me a new earring. He's the best. So outside of Superficial, you may also recognize our boy right here from Botched on the E! Network. So we're going to dive into that a little bit. But just to kind of make sure it's clear for everybody, Joey, so he is a piercing artist, piercing aesthetic artist, like we said, but so that's what he does day in and day out. But he also is very familiar with tattoos. He has been very honest and open about some of the work he's had done with Botox and fillers, etc., etc. So when it comes to piercings, 100% the expert. Everything else is kind of from our personal experiences and what we've learned along the way. No plastic surgeons up in here.
No,
I'm not putting needles in anybody's body. So just so everybody knows kind of where we stand on that we want to speak from our knowledge that we do know, not to speak in
more so experience, our experiences
totally,
with it and everything.
All right. So Kels, do you want to ask Joey the first question?
Sure. So we know that you've done it all, from piercings to tattoos, and even under the knife. Do you remember the first body mod you ever made, And if so, what was it?
The first body modification I ever had was when I was like 15. I pierced my own lip. I wasn't allowed to. My parents wouldn't let me get anything until I turned 18. So I was like, fine, if you won't let me do it, I'll do it myself.
I love
and
it.
so they were like, you can't even get a shot. So
Were
you're
you
not
like,
going to do it.
were you hooked after that, would you say, or did it take a little bit of time?
Well, like, so it was the night before picture day. And I didn't think that through. So it also ended up being like a little off center. It was bad because like this is a long time ago. So
Yeah.
it's like
Right.
the center.
Yeah,
Like Christina
Right,
Aguilera,
very
you know,
in.
like
dirty video, give
Yes.
it to me, baby.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
But it was a little off center, and then the next day I woke up and I'm like, oh my God, it's picture day. And I'm like, how am I gonna hide this? Like, so my freshman year picture, yearbook picture, you see my big fat swollen lip that I told my mom that I had a pimple that I popped. And
smart.
so like I took it out, but
Okay.
then I did it again. Oops, I did it again.
Shout out.
On one side, I had that for a day. And
Okay.
then the other side for a day. This is all like over like a couple years.
Wow.
And then, oh my God, my mom's totally going to listen to this. But I did hide
Sorry, Mom.
I did hide a tongue piercing from them for a year.
You didn't do that yourself, did
I
you?
did that myself when I was 15 or 16.
How did you like work up the courage to do that to yourself? It's one thing to pierce somebody else because you're not feeling it and you just kind of go quick. But like, how do you like? I literally was probably drunk in college. My dad told me I had enough holes in my head already and I couldn't get my second piercing done. So I literally, my sister probably like with a lighter put a needle like with the flame in the needle and then put a half a potato behind my ear and did that. But
Parent
like,
trap,
it's not
very
like
parent
that.
trap.
Yeah, totally. But like that, I feel like is like it's gonna be painful, but like not too bad. But your tongue,
Yeah.
I wanted
tongue?
it. Yeah.
So you
it's
just- you
like
gotta fight
when
through
I
the
want
pain.
something, it's like I'll
Wait.
like whatever.
Can you walk me through the process of that though? Like how you did it back then? Or is that a little too much? Because I'm very
No, because I don't want to like
That's
condone
true.
it.
I
It's
love-
like
okay.
you
We are
know,
not
like
condoning
it's
it.
like
We are not
I-
condoning it.
Yeah,
But-
but look where I am now. It's very different.
Right,
So it's not
exactly.
like
just your
I-
passion started at a young age. That's
Yes.
all the people need to know. Okay,
Yep.
don't
You-
listen to that technique.
You
We've
live and
grown.
you learn. You
Yes.
live and you learn.
Yes.
That's crazy, man.
100%. So quickly, I think it's interesting when we were asking some of our Instagram followers kind of like who's done body modifications, who hasn't, if you have, what is it yet, and then kind of like what do you want to do. The most 78% of people said that they have done at least one type of body modification. 22 obviously said have not. Out of the 78 that said yes, the most popular is piercings, which I think is probably to be expected, right? And
Yeah.
then second being tattoos, third being Botox and filler, and then the fewest percentage of people have actually been under the knife. And when we were asking them, like, what would you want to do that you haven't done yet? It was still like all over the place. So I was like, what is kind of stopping you from getting that next thing that you're desiring? So most people said that they are afraid that they won't like the results, that they'll like kind of have a little bit of buyer's remorse, a little regret.
Yeah, you can't take that out.
Yeah.
Yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second is kind of like the commitment. Like if this is something that's going to be in me for forever, that just scares me. And I don't think I want to do something forever. That's too permanent. Third was price. And the least out of all of their concerns was safety. So people put a lot of faith in professionals, which is great. But that kind of brings me to like, what's next? And most people have a lot of questions about Botox and fillers. So I have a question for you. You've done it all. You're very honest about that. Is there anything that's left for you on the books that you would like to get done and you haven't already?
Right now, no. Like I'm at a point where like I feel like I've reached my aesthetic goals, so it's more so just kind of like maintaining what I've done and then like now like aging is like setting in, and so it's like
we feel you.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But one of the best parts though is that so much is non-surgical now, so it's not like you have to go under the knife in order to get the results, and most of them aren't permanent. So like Botox, it lasts 3 months usually, and then like fillers, they say like a year or sometimes like 2 years, depending on like what like exact product it is. But they can also dissolve it, so like it's all pretty temporary. You do have to like upkeep though. So
yeah, like the like non-surgical facelift with the threading thing. I've seen that now. Like there's so many more
wild.
options
And the non-surgical
for
nose
people.
jobs.
And the nose, isn't that like with Botox or filler that they do
Yes,
that?
with filler. And I don't know anything about it. I've seen it, but it's crazy. And when it's funny when you just turn a certain age, like I feel like we all started getting Botox. At least I can speak for myself. I was just like, all right, here we go.
I sure have, baby. Couldn't live without it.
Yep. I'm like, here we go. Let's go, because it's time. It's time. I should have done it sooner, in my opinion. It's just my personal preference. But
So anyone who's listening and was kind of on the fence, do your research. There's a lot of options out there. And if you were worried about the commitment or the price, there's a lot of information out there and a lot of different roads you can take to still achieve your same desired look. But Joey, if you were talking to somebody that's like, I am a body modification virgin. I have my holes pierced in my, earlobe from when I was a baby, and that's it. But I'm thinking about wanting a couple different things. Is there any initial advice that you would give them on like where to start? And would it vary depending on what they're looking for?
Yeah. So ears are always a great place to start, just because like you can see it, it's there. Or wait, is this like piercing, Botox, or like anything?
All the above.
All
whatever,
the above.
Yeah.
Okay. So like with Botox, do it. Like it's like, and do your research too. Like make sure you're going to somewhere that's reputable. But it's always like if it's something that bothers you, or like if you really want like a piercing or a tattoo, do it. It's like at the end of the day, it's your reflection, and just make sure that like you're happy. So like if that little sparkle on like next to your eye or whatever it may be is what's gonna like make you happy, just do it.
It's all about feeling good.
And on that note, like the stigma around body mods, do you think it's super prevalent, or do you think, it's kind of weaning because of this day and age and people are kind of, getting work done and getting tattoos? And
the stigma sticks in a way. So I had to do a lot in order to even open my studio. When you go to like open a tattoo or piercing shop, you're going to a town hall, which generally is filled with a bunch of older people that are very close-minded, and they hear tattoo or piercing and they immediately think gang, drugs, and all of that.
Crazy.
So
I
it's
didn't
like
even think about that process.
So opening the studio was very difficult, but going in with that, like I wanted to be like based off of a med spa, like a surgical suite type of thing. It really helped me in order to like get the older generation to be like, okay, cool, like you can do that in our town. So
this is a legitimate business. Like people desire this service.
100%. And I think the whole concept is so cool. It's like this hybrid, really gray area between like beauty and glam and also healthcare. You like live right in the middle of that space a little bit, which is so unique. But to your point, like you kind of have that little advantage of being able to fall into the healthcare wheelhouse to some extent, to like if people have any concerns or caution, that will hopefully eliminate,
And it's so nice to know though that there are like, you are so knowledgeable. We definitely went to questionable piercing spots in high school because we were like, we just want it done, we want it now. We didn't know, we didn't have the wherewithal to research. So it's so nice that you take great care in your craft. Super important.
Absolutely. So another question that I have for you is for people that are considering or people that want something. I think that there must be a little bit of an internal struggle sometimes, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but like between your creative vision and clients' creative vision, like they come in and they want something and you don't think that necessarily it would look good, do you say something?
So I don't think it's always my place to tell someone that it's going to look good or not. I've definitely cut a couple of my clients off from facial piercings because it was like, now you're just looking to add more. Like, let's like dabble somewhere else.
Yeah.
But it's really not my place to be like, that's not going to look good. Because everyone has their own opinions. And kind of going back to what I said about, like, at the end of the day, it's your reflection. So as long as you're happy, like, that's all that matters. So if I can give you, like, that safe experience in order to help you reach your aesthetic goal, then that's my job is done.
Yeah, so. I love that. That must be hard because I feel like there are a lot of people in the service industry to that extent where it's like, you're a walking version of my name, so I want the outcome to look good. And some people get like a little concerned about whether or not they should do something when a client asks. But like, to your point, yeah, if this is going to make them feel better and they like it, that's all that really matters. But you and I had an experience when I last came into you and I wanted to get a certain piercing. I think I wanted my rook pierced, my forward helix. I forget what it was. But you were like, not that it wouldn't look wonderful, but it's COVID. There's masks. It's going to get caught on something. So when it comes to maybe safety and the healing of the piercing, that's where you'd step in.
Totally. So I am full of disclaimers. Like, before anyone comes in to get pierced, like, I always like doing a consultation first. So that way, like, we can like look at their ear, whatever it may be. Ears are like the most popular right now. Like it's like no matter like any part of the ear. But like, masks, they're super annoying, but they have a huge impact on delaying the healing process because we're always getting caught and snagged and stuff. And I don't want to just like stick needles through people and put beautiful jewelry in them and then have them like once they leave, go to take off the mask and like it's like snagged and caught and that, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, like what did I just get myself into? So, but yeah, anything that could have like possible or high complications, I'm always going to let people know that beforehand because also I'm going to be there to help through all of that. And like, if something's going to have a bunch of complications, like it's really hard for me to like get that into my day-to-day because that's like what we call like an urgent care visit, like where it's like when there's like a random like something goes wrong and like they need to be seen and it's like I'm booked open to close. How am I supposed to do whatever it is that might be needed in order to like
which PSA interruption, if you are considering going to visit Superficial now, which I know all of you are, there's about a 2-month waiting list. He's a hot commodity, ladies and gents, so you better go in there and schedule now because slots fill up quickly. So just a little word for the wise. But anyway, back to our regularly scheduled program. Anything that you think you can share, either about like the doctors or like you were going in there for your nose, correct? Like was that like, we can cut this out if we're not allowed to say it, but like
no,
like what cool. Did you actually have an issu with your nose? Like
they
didn't end up doing the surgery, right?
They didn't do the surgery. So everything that I had said on there was real. I had my first nose job, they put an implant in that ended up slipping down and it broke through my septum. And then I went in for a revision surgery and then it was just, I wanted another one because it wasn't done. So I ended up going in for my third nose job after Botched was filmed.
Wow.
But before Botched aired. So
Dr. DeBro and Terry Nassif don't know what they're talking about.
No. They totally...
I'm totally kidding. They're the experts. I watch every single episode. Tracy. I really do.
Yeah, they totally
God.
I was like, it was more of like the complications that I experienced were more just aesthetic. It was like finishing touches kind of stuff. Right. But yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, that's fun. But yeah, if you guys want to just watch the episode, you find it on YouTube, on demand. Go find Joey on Botched.
Season 4, episode 13.
Hell yeah, baby.
Here we go.
All right. Kind of speaking on the notion of Botched. Do you have any horror stories from your experience as a piercing artist? I keep messing it up. Piercing aesthetic artist that you can share?
Yeah, I mean,
he's like, which one?
Tell us, like, I want to hear like a gory situation or like a wild, like either something that was like super gross or something that was like, how the hell did this occur? Like who would have thought this could happen this way? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I have seen pretty much it all. And a lot of people a lot of people go to places where it's very cheap because it's more cost efficient, but like you get what you pay for. So
100%.
A lot of the time these people end up finding someone like me who is reputable to fix what has been botched. And you
end up spending more money.
Yeah. And like, so there's been plenty of like revision piercings that I've done.
Yeah.
But one of the most this wasn't a botched piercing. This was just more of like an accident on this client. So one of my clients, I had pierced her nipples, which are probably one of the most popular piercings. I really don't even know how there's nipples left to pierce.
I got you if you want to.
Oh my God.
If you want them, definitely.
You're next. You're next.
It's just not for me.
But so I pierced this client's nipples, and she had them for at least a few months for sure. So she came in and she called, and when she came in, I got the full story. And, I got like the rundown from the receptionist, but then when she came in, basically what had happened is she was running outside and like the screen door like hit and like caught one of her nipples. It ripped outward, and she
it
had
pulled
just
completely through.
So basically. So she took
Tracy, why do you have to ask?
I don't even think
need
it was
to
a
know.
gauze pad. I feel like it was like a paper towel with like that she just like taped over it, and obviously it was like
Bled
I'm
through?
basically like her metallic surgeon. So she's like, I need to go see Joey. Like not like urgent care, not like the doctor, ER, anything. It's like I need to go see Joey. So, so I remove that, and sure enough, the barbell was literally ripped outward.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Like hanging on by like a portion of the nipple. So what I did was I put the barbell back down, and I used steri strips to kind of just put the nipple back together, bandaged it.
You are a surgeon.
I did
You're
like
a
a little.
nipple surgeon.
It was like I just put it back together, and that nipple
can't.
didn't even recognize that like that had happened when she came in like later on in the future. She was like, "Do you remember I ripped this?" And I was like, "Oh my God, that was you." No, it looks great. Wow, I did a really good job at putting that back together.
Pat on the back. Look at you.
That's how you know people trust you, because that is insane. Like,
Yeah, like
Wow.
imagine your nipple ripping through and being like, I'm just gonna go to the mod spa. No, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna screw urgent care,
Yeah.
you know? Like
so crazy. Oh my God.
Wow. Speaking of nipples, before we move on to the next thing, one of the questions that we got from one of the girls on Instagram actually was, in your experience or with your knowledge, is there any correlation with nipple piercings having an impact on a woman's ability to breastfeed a child?
Everyone asked this.
Really?
Yes, this is like one of the number one questions we get asked.
Whoa.
Like before the piercing. I've never met anyone that has said they weren't able to breastfeed. Basically, like when you do the piercing, there's like you want to avoid lactal ducts and milk glands and all that stuff. So I've always avoided those things.
Yeah.
So none of my clients have ever said like, I can't breastfeed now. And it's like,
And that's why you go to a reputable
yes,
person.
yeah.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Usually it's more of like, it'll kind of like squirt out the sides. But
Whoa.
You're like, you gotta catch this, baby.
yeah. So,
You gotta bob and weave.
Everyone come take a sip.
nipples are very, very strange. It's just like
Yeah.
like a maze of like where milk kind of like goes.
Yeah.
It's very...
And do you think that nipple piercings increase or decrease stimulation?
They usually will increase, but that's not for every single client.
Right. It's not blanket.
I've never heard anyone be like, I have no feeling now. It's not like that. Kind of cool though, like after like people get breast augmentation or breast reduction, they lose feeling almost completely in their nipple. So the piercing usually doesn't hurt them, but sometimes they actually get increased sensitivity after. So because the way the barbell will pass through the nipple, it's almost kind of like giving you a sensation that you've never been able to feel before until you got the piercing, because it's like, it's not just on the outside of the nipple, it's like on the inside of the nipple.
Yeah.
So it's really cool how it works. And then like with all the nerves and stuff that are in there, the barbell, like it kind of like rests against those. And so it increases sensitivity most of the time, but not guaranteed and not every time.
That's amazing. Wow.
So are you next, Tracy? She's making an appointment tomorrow.
You know? Yeah, stay tuned for next week. I'm going to have my nipples pierced.
Just don't get it caught on the screen door. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. I also, and no, I shouldn't say. I was going to say I have I know a person who had a horrible nipple story, but I won't share.
We'll leave it at
I won't
that.
share it.
Well, if they need help, you know where to send them.
I sure do.
Yes.
I sure do. But you're full of all those kind of fun facts. I know that you have a YouTube channel with some videos of different types of piercings that you've done and information. Like, for example, #faith in the Daith. Yes. Right? Yes. So if you guys don't know, I actually can show you. I don't know if Hurley, you can zoom in, but the Daith...
He's like, let me get up. Hold on.
This little guy right here that's stuck in there. And Joey did that for me with one of his custom pieces of jewelry. But there is some science behind this piercing that is not just for aesthetic purposes, right?
Yes. So there is no medical backing on it. But the Daith piercing has become very, very popular because it has been said that it is going to cure migraines.
Really?
And so it's the acupuncture pressure point for migraine relief.
Oh, wow.
So it's very, very, very cool for what it's been able to do for people. When crazy. It all started with some Facebook articles, and then all of a sudden these people were calling like, oh, I want the migraine piercing. This is going back like 8 years ago. Wow. I'm like, the migraine piercing? What?
Like, come again?
So... did a whole bunch of those like when that first happened, and then these people started coming back and being like, oh, like I want to switch this jewelry, and by the way, you changed my life. And I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, I haven't had a migraine since you did it, or I haven't had a migraine or like I used to get a migraine every day. I get them once a week now, so like some sort of relief. So again, there is no medical backing on this. I pierce for aesthetics, but if you suffer from migraines, it's so worth giving it a shot because of what it's been able to do for so many people.
That's so
really cool. Well, it's kind of like, well, not exactly the same, but how Botox helps with migraines. It's like, okay, well, will that be insured in the future? Because
well, I was gonna say, like, people, it's another alternative to trying something else.
Migraines are like crazy. I never realized the extent of it until I started doing these piercings for people that suffer from them. And just hearing about like all the things that they've tried and like done in order to help with migraines, and Botox being like, I feel like half of the people that I've pierced their Daith for that reason have tried Botox, and for some it worked and for some it didn't. So
makes sense. I think it's like the severity, and again, I'm not a doctor, but the severity of it, because it doesn't like penetrate deep enough. I wouldn't think it would penetrate deep enough, but I don't know. It's just crazy. It's crazy. I never knew that.
Really?
I never.
That is pretty cool.
That is so cool. I just never thought of it as like a pressure point. Like I've never looked at piercings like that. So
the ear is full of them, apparently. Like there's one that is for like anxiety or reducing anxiety.
Which one is that? Tell me.
Yeah, I need that
one. Again, I pierce for aesthetics.
He's like, I'm not a
any
doctor.
and all of this can just be placebo.
Right.
I will give you the piercing you want. I have an idea of the ones that are for what, but I don't like. I don't advertise them in that way. It's more of like,
Just
okay,
a bonus.
like this is what you're looking for. Like I hope it works, but like
it's not guaranteed.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So just looking back at everything, how do you maintain your confidence and stay true to yourself? Because from meeting you and kind of following your journey, I feel like you're unapologetically yourself. And it's so awesome because I don't think a lot of people feel comfortable being that way. So how do you maintain that confidence and, just say, this is who I am?
I don't know. I feel it's just who I am.
It's just who you are.
This is me. You either like me or don't.
I love it.
Do you feel like that's something that's been innate that you've just always had, or do you feel like it's been like learned over the years?
I feel like it's something that I've always had.
I love that.
Yeah, I think I've become more comfortable in my skin like over the years. Like I was never like uncomfortable or sad or anything like that, but like I've like the body is a canvas and like I've done everything that I've kind of wanted to like get to my own version of perfect and I'm happy with everything that I've done and that's
I love that. I feel like a lot of people have a lot of opinions.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? And it's hard to not listen to them sometimes. Like when you're going to do something, I feel like I've like wanted certain tattoos on my arms and it's the people that are like a little more old school
Bunch
being
of
like,
haters.
You're a woman. I'm like, yes. And so,
whatever.
So it's
you can
hard.
do whatever you want.
It's hard to like not listen to the other voices that are kind of coming at you that are overly concerned about what you look like, which is very like interesting
it's like,
to me.
why does it matter?
Why do you care what I have on my body if like you're not me?
People need to really just focus more on themselves and getting themselves to reach their own happiness as opposed to like trying to like stand in the way of someone else reaching their happiness.
I agree.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you would say like there was things that you obviously wanted to tweak, but like you were always a pretty confident person. And then like these little changes that you made along the way have only improved that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The number one, like when I was like 13, that's when I was like, I want a nose job. And like that was like, so that happened when I was 21. But like that was like the only thing. I'm half Lebanese and half Italian.
Ooh.
So it's like.
You got that nose. We're Italian. We know. We get it.
So that was like, I wanted that. But then everything else, just like little tweaks like along the way.
Okay. Well, if you're comfortable, I think I say let's do it. Want to go down the list? Want to talk about what we've done? Okay. It doesn't have to be in order. But tell everybody what you've had done.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
He's like,
like let's start at the top and go down.
Yes.
Like I feel like that's like the best way. Wait, piercings or like
everything?
We can see the piercings and the tattoos. So let's do anything like more than that. Filler, Botox, or surgery.
Okay. So Botox, obviously, like my entire face, basically.
Amen.
And I got Botox for the first time when I was 21. Okay. So it's been 10 years of getting Botox. Except, fun fact, actually. So for the first time ever, when I turned 30 during the pandemic last year, my Botox girl did not have Botox because she used it all before the shutdown. So I was already overdue before there was a shutdown. So my birthday's in May. So months in, I'm like, oh my God. Like I can turn 30. Eyebrows. I'm like, my face hasn't moved this much since I was 21. This is so scary. I hate it. I was like, I feel so old. But like, but yeah, so Botox for like 10 years. Then I've had, entire like forehead and then crow's feet, like bunny line. I don't know. I just let her put it wherever. Like just keep me young.
Okay.
Then I've had 3 nose jobs. I've had fillers I get filler in my lips like every like 1 to 3 months.
Okay. So because normally don't people say that it lasts longer than that?
It totally does. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But we just like to make sure we're looking fresh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like a little more, like, just a little extra.
Gotcha,
you know, like.
Gotcha. I hear you.
Yes.
One of the other questions people wanted to know at home too was, in your experience, obviously you're not doing the injection itself, but as a recipient, has a lip filler like ever given you trouble? Has it merged and made things look a little off? Like, or have you always had a pretty decent experience?
Lip filler, I have never had a bad experience with.
Okay.
Actually, the first time I got it when I was 21, I had a weird experience, but like that's whatever.
Okay.
I didn't do my research. I just went to whoever was closest.
Got it.
So they ended up getting like malpractice or something, and like, it was crazy. So when I found out about that, I'm like, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but like lip fillers, I've never had any problems with, but there's definitely things that can go wrong with that, even though like it's just filler, like there's still complications that could come along with it. Yeah. The only things that I've had so I have had my cheekbones injected a whole bunch of times, and so I have a little bit of an addictive personality. So kind of going back to lips, going every 1 to 3 months. With the cheeks, I was doing it a lot. One of the probably the second or third time I went to get them done, my inspiration was Maleficent.
Yes.
And not when the Disney
fierce.
or Angelina
cheekbones
when it was like they were like chiseled, like
Legit.
I just like
Cheekbones
that
for
was
days.
I didn't want them like rounded, I want them like chiseled, like not like I didn't want to like cut glass with them, but like I wanted like more of like stacked and sharper.
Yeah. Yep.
And I got that. And that is honestly something that I probably shouldn't have done because I was like 23.
Right.
So like that has now turned into like I've had to keep doing that. But there were so many different products over the years that I've had in my cheeks and the way they'll absorb in and like having to redo it. And then it just turns into this concoction of all these fillers that like are trying to dissolve. And then, so that's one thing that like, nothing went wrong. I just overdid it, especially being so young. But whatever, like, I mean, you live and you learn, and I'm still injecting them, so.
So here we are.
Yeah.
We've got the process down packed now.
Yeah.
We're good. We're
Yes.
good. All right. Moving lower.
Okay, with cheekbones, lips, smile lines. I've had those filled a bunch of times. Under eyes filled before. Never jaw. Jaws are super trendy right now, but that's I like my jaw. I don't think
I've heard
really
that it also like again with like kind of the daith piercing and the Botox, people say filler or Botox in your jaw can help from grinding your teeth at night.
Botox, yes.
Botox. Okay.
I was gonna ask, so when you do that, does it just tighten it all up down here? Like, what is the purpose
I think
of?
stops the muscle from being able to move, so you wouldn't be able to grind your teeth, right?
No, but no, like aesthetically. I'm like,
So,
no.
I think
Whoops, got you now. Sorry.
Aesthetically, because I know that in the past, like prominently males, of course, wanted like that chiseled look for a jaw, so they would get like surgeries to help that. But with Botox, what does that do?
so. Botox paralyzes and like relaxes,
Right.
But fillers are what gonna like give you that like more chiseled look.
Got it. Okay.
So when people put Botox in their jaw, that's generally, I think, for like you were saying, like the grinding teeth and like it just relaxes, or it actually can like slim the face.
Oh,
because
okay.
it relaxes.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah.
I've never had it, so
So nothing in the jaw at all.
nothing in the jaw.
Okay.
Okay.
Then
Down.
moving
down.
down. I had Botox on my chin. I think it was to smooth.
Okay.
I love that.
I don't really know.
think like we
Again,
don't know.
like,
We're unclear.
so-
Yeah.
So then I had my sweat glands from my underarms removed. So this is when I was like 26, It was right after I got my butt implants, which at that point I was like, what else can we do? Going back to addictive personality.
We need to show the butt. We'll do that when we get to that part of the body. But my question is, with the sweat glands, is it like a one-time thing, or is it
it's supposed to be. So I didn't have any problem with like over sweating beforehand or anything. It was literally just something. It was like, oh, you can do that. I want it. Like I was like, that's fun. To not sweat.
And I literally die. You're like, the cost on the surgery, it will save me the lifetime supply of deodorant. So why not?
Yeah. Did that hurt?
It was awful. So it was a laser treatment, but I was told that like I was going to be able to like go to work after, no problem. So I booked for the morning, and like I had appointments later on that day for like back at work. So I go to get this procedure done, and there were scalpels, incisions, and it was way more than I thought. So they did an incision under each underarm, went in with a cannula and separated the muscle from like the fresh tissue. Oh my God. Then went in basically an entire IV bag per underarm full of lidocaine, so that way you didn't feel the laser. So leading up to that whole process of that entire IV bag filling underneath your arm with lidocaine to not feel the laser, I feel like it would have been easier to just feel the laser than that whole process.
Right.
Like, so that was crazy. That was not what I expected.
They didn't like prep you for that. That's like a minor surgery.
That was surgical.
That's
and
surgery.
That's
all
not
that
like an
lidocaine
outpatient procedure. Just go in and out. Your appointment's done.
You think laser? It's like just hair, like you would do to your legs or your arms or whatever.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Yeah, that was wild. And then I couldn't feel my hands for like the rest of that entire day. So I was like, I can't pierce because like all that lidocaine is going to eventually drop.
Yes.
So I remember driving to work and like just being like, I cannot even feel my hands whatsoever. It was crazy. I'm like, what did I get myself into?
Oh my God.
It was like a really weird, unexpected thing, but it worked for like a year or so, like maybe 2 years. And like now like I sweat a little bit, but like it's not like it didn't like completely go away. Like they do say you have to go back like a second time sometimes, but I'm like, I do not want to go through that again. And I didn't even have a problem to begin with. It was just more of like, what else can I add to my list?
Okay.
Wild.
Oh, God. That sounds wild.
What else?
Is the last thing the booty?
No. So I also had.
Ladies and gentlemen,
there's more.
So I had sculpture, which is like cool sculpts.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So
is that like worth it? Would you say?
I think. It was another one where it was like, well, I'm like really like I was like let's do it.
Yeah.
So, I feel like that's like hot right now. Everyone wants to do the cool
a few
sculpting.
people that do it and they like it just because it tightens everything. It like just makes you feel extra good. You know?
Yeah. I think I'm more of like an immediate results kind of person.
Yeah.
So, and like where like there really wasn't anything to dissolve there, that like I didn't really see the results so much. And like by the time like it's happened, I think, I don't know. But yeah, so I had that done.
Where?
On my
just like the abdominal area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the butt. I think that's it.
Yeah.
But
Tracy really wants to show everybody the butt.
I want everyone to see the booty. Hurley, how do we zoom in on this bodacious ass goat? What is it? Good gracious.
She's on one. It's that boozy freeze pop.
Looking for. Okay.
Is it this camera, Hurley?
This one? All right, baby.
That's one?
Stand up. And do a little turn to this. Oh.
Yes.
Oh, I can see it already. Look at it.
I'm like moving away from it.
Look at how perky and beautiful. True or false, you could not sit for 6 weeks.
I could not sit for 6
What?
weeks.
Look at that angle. Have you ever seen anything better?
You could put a glass on that.
Yeah. Oh, he has.
So I did.
I I love that. Oh my God.
That was photoshopped, but I did recreate. So, because my butt totally broke the internet. Like,
Yeah.
it was like.
I'd imagine so.
It was wicked funny. So,
yeah.
After I got my butt implants, I totally documented all of that because, like, who do you know that's had them?
Yep.
No
Yeah.
one. And that, like, even 6 years ago, no one had them. Like, it was like Kim Kardashian, like, might. She says she didn't, but, like, she
Unclear.
totally has.
Yes.
But, like, so I was like, and obviously, like, I'm very open about everything that I've done. So I wanted people to know, like, what I thought it would be fun to share. And so I documented the whole experience. And that's around the time of Snapchat and stuff like that, too, like, first coming out. And then.
Is that where, you know, you have a pretty good social following right now. Is that where it all came from? Was it the butt? Did we start with the butt? Or, like, was it just from piercing and being known through that?
It was really just piercing.
Amazing.
Yeah, from like back in that time, but then like within like the South Shore.
Yeah,
Right.
and then like Botched gets you up there and all the different platforms too, right?
So Botched, actually, I really didn't gain many followers from that. I was very, very, very surprised.
I'm shocked.
So after I got the butt implants, there was a UK journalist that found me and messaged me and was like, I think you're fabulous. I want to write an article about you. And I was like, okay. So she wrote articles or an article which turned into an overnight, like, everyone had articles. Like VH1 had an article. People magazine had an article. Like it was wild.
Just caught
So you
fire.
never predicted that?
Never.
No.
It was literally like no one had ever gotten this procedure done before. And it's like, so it was crazy.
Oh
but
my God.
Yeah. So then like
That is crazy.
literally overnight, it was like I went like global. It was crazy. So after that, like a few months later, that's when I ended up recreating the Kim Kardashian
funny.
break the internet thing.
Yes.
So instead of paper magazine, it was plastic magazine.
Isn't that funny?
That is epic. That is epic. I need to find this photo now.
It's so good. It's so good. At Superficial, like on the walls, he has a picture of that. He has a picture from Botched with the doctors. He has like a couple different, I think, like newspaper, like article clippings. Like everything's on there. So like it's really cool to be able to kind of watch all that's happened and like all you've kind of gone through. And
I think we need to make a visit.
oh, well,
I'd say.
I was there on Tuesday night.
Were you? Okay, then I need to make a
You
visit.
definitely need to come down.
Yes.
Oh my God, you
sure.
can hold Tracy's hand when I pierce her nipples.
Yes! That was perfect.
We'll get best friend nipple piercing.
Yeah, we already have best friend tattoos, so I feel like we
Yes.
should be able to do a best friend
Yes.
piercing. It's
Okay.
only
Totally.
it's only fair. Okay.
Deal.
We did
Deal.
want Joey to pierce us live here in the studio today, but
Not exactly sanitary.
you know, with the whole idea of mod/med spa, not necessarily the most sterile technique, I'm sure.
We got to do that in the Prixx OR.
Yes.
Yes, paging Dr. Prixx, baby. So thank you for being so open and honest about everything that you've had done.
Seriously,
and
yeah.
truly, from Kelsie and myself, like we are so grateful for you coming on today, telling us about your experience, about Superficial, about everything you've had done. You bring so much knowledge to the table, and also I'm just so appreciative for like you are the most positive person I've ever met in my entire life. You are so sweet and so warm, and I think that truly you're a perfect example of like the outside isn't always what you see on the inside. Like I feel like people have this perception of you look at somebody who's had a ton of work done or a ton of stuff done and you assume, oh, they're stone cold, or oh, there's no depth to that person. And you literally break that mold. You show everybody that like that is so untrue, and who you are on the inside is all that matters. And what matters is that these are all things you've done for yourself and you enjoy them and you love them. And I feel like you keep perpetuating that mindset, and it's beautiful, and we're so proud of you, and we love you
Agreed.
and
Thank you so
appreciate you.
much.
Thank you
Thank
so much for
you.
coming on.
Thank you for having me.
It's been awesome.
So if you guys want to look into Joey after this, you can
Yes.
find him at Joey Prixx with 2 X's, correct?
Yes.
On
I'm
Instagram.
not a porn star.
Well, you never know. And as well, you can also go to Superficial ModSpa on Instagram and take a peek at his place, his piercing studio. There's also a link to the website in there where you can go in and book directly. You guys can schedule appointments for a piercing. You guys can also schedule to come in and get a consultation about either maybe what piercing's right for you, or take a look at the jewelry lines that he has, whether they're from other vendors or the pieces he's created himself, and just kind of see like if you're thinking about maybe not a new piercing but just ready for a change, you want to switch up your look, you guys can go and do that too as well. Before we wrap things up, is there anything else that we want to chat about? Anything else that we haven't talked about? I know, like, Joey, like, your knowledge is just so in depth, and we'll never get to everything
All of
on
it,
one
right.
episode. I
Right.
mean, like, Joey, like, is the expert. Like, these dermal piercings that he's done, like, truly in fashion with, like, the correlation to healthcare and med spa. It's like he has done the research to make sure this technique is like perfect. It's literally almost surgical like all these things. Like there's so much that we won't be able to touch on, but like anything that the people should know when it comes to either going into a procedure, going in to get a piercing, the whole 9 yards, anything.
So basically, like, do your research.
Yeah.
If you're not coming to me.
Yeah.
But like, do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
Like, don't let anyone tell you no, or like that's not going to look good, or you shouldn't do that, or that's going to restrict you from this or that. Like, always just do what makes you happy. Don't take piercings out because your new boyfriend or whoever you matched with on Tinder doesn't like it or whatever.
Preach.
Like, oh, do you know how many nipples I've re-pierced? Multiple times. Those are the ones that I'd be worried about not breastfeeding.
Right.
But
Right.
like I pierced your nipples 4 times now. There's so much
Yeah.
scar tissue. But yeah, like just always doing like like whether it's plastic surgery, fillers, Botox, piercings, tattoos, do what makes you happy.
Yeah, your body's yours.
It is. It's a
100%.
canvas.
Love that.
Totally.
Yeah.
And Joey's very responsive on Instagram. So like if you have a question,
I'm going to interrupt. I am not responsive. My team is responsive.
wait, on Superficial or
On Superficial,
Okay, but
yes.
even like your personal Instagram, I feel like you like check your DMs pretty well. Maybe just because we follow
Tracy's
each other.
putting on the pressure. She's
wait.
like, this is your homework.
I was gonna say I feel like I have questions and like they always get answered whether I ask you or I ask Superficial. So I guess if it's not,
How about if you have questions for Joey, you can ask us and we will relay them.
okay, that's just
So then we can take the pressure off of you and we can compile them.
I don't, my DMs like clear out before I can even get to them because the way
oh shit, you gotta make that, huh?
It's crazy. Like it's like I'll post like something on my story randomly, which is like I've been slacking on social media, but like
Yeah.
I'll post something and then all of a sudden like 100 people will send like hearts or like
Yeah.
oh my god or
Yeah.
something. So then it like that just like clears out your entire like
Yeah.
like inbox and
Pushes
I'm-
everything down. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
so it's like I
Yeah.
miss all of it because then I'm with clients all day.
Yeah.
So
we got
it's
you. You have your
so
questions.
Message.
We got you.
Yeah, yes.
Scratch that. If you have questions following the show, ask us and we will get the answers for you. Do not ask Joey. All right. Does that sound good, everybody? We ready to wrap it up for today?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
It's been great. It's been so fun.
Thank you.
Kels, you want to close us out?
Oh, I thought you weren't.
I feel like I've talked enough
I
today.
have to say my turn because it triggers you. Anyways, follow, like, subscribe, comment, 30 Flirty Surviving Podcast. You can listen on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and iHeart. Thank you
That's right.
so much.
Thank you, Joey.
Thank you.